Tomb of Catherine Mompesson, who died in the plague, August 25th, 1666. Welcome to a new Mashed Up TV video.
Shut to Luke here.
We've got brother Tommy joining us today. Beth as normal. And we're at Eyam village. The first thing I've come to is a revolving roasting jack. It's cancelled for some reason. Well, it has been used to roast sheep. A lot of history around here, and we'll be seeing a lot of things today. We're going to the church first, so we can see all the old houses. You do look like a sheep. Good job they cancelled it. This is Eyam Parish Church. Now this has got a lot of old graves in it, and there's a spectacular grave I'm going to show you here soon, which will be the oldest grave we've seen yet. These are 1700s. Look, that's a 1770s. That's 1778 behind it. Zoom in. These are all 1700s graves. Tommy, I've got a challenge for you. Find one from 1600s.
1600s?
Yes. The church was built in the 1200s. More than likely. Actually, you know what the earliest one we'll find will probably be in here, because they've got that Celtic one. The gravies. 1905. Really big. 1905. It tells you about the herbs that were used in the time of the plague in Eyam. Rosemary, balm, rue and thyme. Probably, I think, what they put in the doctor's masks, in the little nose bit where the beak bit would have been. Because they believed, yeah, they believed that by putting that in there, they wouldn't catch the plague, because they couldn't smell it. See, the doctors weren't trained. The plague doctors, they kind of just did what they could to let people bleed out and stuff like that. Because they thought that bleeding was a way to get rid of bad blood. Oh yeah.
Actually, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it is. Tomb of Catherine Mompesson, who died in the plague, August 25th, 1666. And it says it on top of it, look, Tommy.
Is it?
Yep. There you go, you find your one at 1600 ones to set you out to find.
More?
Memorial to Reverend Thomas Stanley, supporter of Reverend William Mompesson during the plague. I'm sure he's the one that told him not to go. He told him, everyone, that he had to stay put to not spread it. A lot of 1700 graves. 8th century AD, so that's from 700
years ago.
No, that's from the year 700. So that'd be 1,300 years old. Now that's the oldest grave we've ever seen. Celtic cross. Look at the design must have gone into it. It must have been for someone important. 8th century. I'm sure they said they moved it here from somewhere else. That's not another plague one. That's another old one. And they're definitely old over there, look. Look at that.
These aren't people's graves, Tommy.
They've moved them.
Oh,
These ones that have been milled.
Look at that, they're really old.
so these are just tombstones and no one's buried.
These are where they just put them when they fall down.
Yeah, look at that, that's really old, that is.
That's what that looks like. It's from ancient Egypt.
That were in York Cathedral.
In York Minster.
That one, York
Yeah.
Minster.
Wall sundial, put here in 1775.
Yeah.
It's cool, isn't it? So we went and stepped in the church. It had like paintings and things in there. But it is closed due to a service, but they let us stand near the door and have a quick look. There's the war grave that's just over there. And the cemetery goes really far back.
Hello, Dad.
But all the houses and stuff have plaques on them telling you about what happened in it through the plague times. Bull's Head Inn, an earlier building on the site, was called the Talbot Inn, and for many generations was run by the Talbot family, and the last whom died unmarried in 1813. The Bull's Head, which replaced the Talbot, closed and was converted into flats in 2000, so this is all flats now. It's telling about the Gleam mine site, which goes under the little water swallow that we did a video on a while ago called the Derby's Hidden Waterfall. It tells you about all the mine where it goes and everything. Tells you about the thing about the house. It's the Forester's Arms, formerly an inn, built on the site of a family graveyard and dating from the plague period. Sadly, the gravestones were broken up where the building was erected. So it used to be a graveyard underneath here, and now they've turned it into an inn at the plague times. In the middle of this road, there would have been a rock, and they would have tethered a bear or something like that, and they would have let the dogs up on it, let the dogs have it for a village spectacle and wake times in the wake weeks. Obviously it was made illegal in 1830s, but it used to be in here, but it's been covered over by layers of road through time. There's lots, like we've got a little history bits around it. What's this say? This is the village square, where you can find out more about how we got food and medicine during the 1665 and 1660 plague, how we used to earn our living, where we used to do our washing, what we went to no buildings. We had one of the first public water systems in 1588 during the reign of Elizabeth I. If you walk 200 metres up Water Lane behind Peak Pantry, you will find two sets of old troughs, one for hard water is by the footpath, the other for soft water where we did our washing up to 100 years ago.
Look at this photo.
The hub, look at that, the hub of the only pub. Need a drink, visit the Miners' Arms, built around 1630. The only pub left in the village Eyam. Tea rooms were once the Bold Rodney Inn. So that used to be the Bold Rodney Inn. Are we?
Possibly in a minute now.
It was built on the shore. Plague. Eyam was not a good place to be between 65 and 66 when the bubonic plague was rife. Go up the Lady Gate to find the graves of the Derby family, one of many families buried in the fields of gardens to help reduce the spread of the plague. If you fancy a walk, visit Riley Graves where the Hancock family are buried, or visit Barnderstone. Let's have a look at that. That's the Barnderstone to see how money was left in the holes for the stone and return from food and medicine. In this one, we had John Torrey's house. Him and his 8-month-old son died, and his wife survived the plague. That's a cafe room. This is called Water Lane Troughs. The set of two troughs dating from 1588 were used for drinking water. Close by another trough which supplied soft water. The wives would meet here on wash day to wash their clothes and then spread them on the adjoining parish land to dry. So people would do all the washing and drinking here.
So this is dirty water now.
Oh yeah, it was. This is one of the first water systems made for washing and drinking.
This fucking in it.
And one of the first ones in country.
I've got a nice bit of wood. There's no thing in it.
Croft. Many victims who lived at this end of the village were buried here. The memorial stone has been removed, but it is known that several were inscribed with a single letter H and probably belonged to the Heald family. Mary died June 16th, then one died in June 26th. Emmett. Elizabeth was July the 2nd, and Thomas in July the 18th. You think they all died within a month of each other? One memorial stone heard of in Derby had the inscription Bridget Talbot Anno Domini 1666.
Crazy.
That's what it is now, look. Most of them were buried on here, Tommy.
Really?
Yeah.
That on this field?
Yep.
Well, they'll be buried.
Well, the man, his arms all round here, look, would have been round here. So this was Wesley Reformed Chapel in 1787. The Reverend Thomas Stanley, rector of Eyam in 1644 to 1661. Born in Duckmanton in Chesterfield, he died in 1670, was buried in Eyam. He is not in the agreement with the Act of Uniformity and was ejected from the living, but was asked by his followers to stay in the village, where he helped the sick and dying in the plague period. He wrote wills for a number of the victims. Only one is still existing. And that's it. A bit out of the village coming out of it.
And look at the view.
One for the Riley graves, and it's telling us where it is.
That's amazing. What's
Little water trough running down here, looks like. Would have run down probably from rain.
Hello.
In middle, a dusty road. It goes up and up and up. After a long walk, right up an hill, we finally got here. Proper uphill as well. Show you how high uphill we are. With that eye.
I'm tired.
This is your way into it. Little tunnel steps over there. Sacred to the memory of the Hancock family, victims of the plague, August the 3rd to the 10th of 1666. Visitors are requested to treat this burial place with reverence. The Riley graves. Yeah? Basically, all these graves belong to one family that died in plague. And they're still quite well into it, to be fair. But it was just out of the way here, so it was a good place to bury him up. Or the Hancock family. Nothing around it, it's just in one little. Stop. The Eyam tea rooms. So this is the Rose and Fossil Cottage, home of William Wood, the Eyam historian, who born in 1804 and died in 65. His dad or his granddad, probably his great granddad to be fair, died of the plague year. In 1666. Most of these cottages will have had plague victims, but a lot of them have got stuff outside the doors telling you about things. And that's just one of many. One look. The graves of George Darby, who died on the 4th of July 1666, and his daughter Mary, aged 20, who died on the 4th of September. George's wife survived and died in 1674. Have a look at them. So you never know what you're going to find. That's his daughter.
Right, so the wife, where was she buried?
She, I don't know, must have buried in a normal graveyard, I bet. Unless they buried her together. But I bet they were too scared to dig it up.
Yeah, so just open a new pack of plague, weren't they?
Well, we should have been fine by then, but... They're like little sections like this. I wonder if there's anyone that's buried in any gardens that are across. I'm guessing so. Little thin gap to get through. So this is called the boundary stone. things over there. But what they would have done is people from outside of Eyam would have came with all the meats and everything, put the meats and the clothing and anything that they needed around the edges, and the people from Eyam village would have come and put coins in them to pay it off so that no contact is made. Someone's done it there to show you what it would have looked like. And that's what they would have done. Coins would have gone in here. So that's what the holes are for. And there's another one just on that gate over there, and it looks like it would probably use for the same kind of thing.
Probably a few years before, like 60s, 70s.
Nice views. Tells you, look. Eyam has become known as the plague village due to the decision to make the whole village quarantine itself during the outbreak of the Black Death. They allowed no one in or out during the 14 months that the plague took hold, despite less than a quarter of the village population surviving, so 3/4 of the village died. The self-imposed quarantine did, however, successfully contain the spread of the disease. The stone acted as a marker for separate the residents of the plague-affected village of Eyam to the non-affected villages of Stony Middleton in 1665. A stone has 6 holes drilled into the surface. It is here during the plague that money soaked in vinegar, believed to kill the infection, was placed in the villages of Eyam in exchange for food and medical supplies. The larger stone can be seen as to symbolise this tragedy and stands as testimony to villagers of Stony Middleton and others supplied them with necessities to survive. This is one of the most famous things around here.
I've got a walking stick, guys.
The cliff that you can see there is where a woman in the 1760s decided she was going to jump off from being thwarted by her lover, William Barnsley. She had a lot of petticoats that acted like a parachute and caught on brambles, and miraculously she somehow survived for a few cuts, but she still died a couple of years later.
About
2 years later from natural causes, still unmarried.
So the story was sad still.
Now,
Hello everyone!
this here, little cane path, this looks like it might have been part of another one, because part of that, there's also little holes here. It makes me wonder if it were probably used for the same thing. Maybe that's how this all started.
Maybe they put some stuff in there.
Might have been the start of it all. There's holes around it.
They met here.
Yeah, maybe at the beginning.
And then they made it a bit further away.
Yeah, maybe bigger. Maybe things were like falling out of it or something.
How to get money in that hole?
Bear in mind, most of them used to use groats and stuff, so
Right in there.
I don't know.
Right there.
Might have been deep at the time.
Maybe they put stuff in.
I'm only speculating.
I'll put berries in there. So
Maybe they put stuff in.
About these houses, these cottages down here, they all have what happened to them. Peter, the third victim, died on 23rd September 1665. Humphrey, aged 15 months, first son died on the 17th of October. Jane was the sole survivor of the household. Altogether, including her in-laws, she lost 25 relatives in this house. This one doing the garden in there. What, inside? I don't think you've had that possibility to do it though. Mary Hatfield, formerly Cooper, lived with her 2 sons Edward and Jonathan. For her new husband Alexander Hatfield, Floyd George Vickers, the first plague victim. Died on the 7th of September, and the 4th, Jonathan Cooper died. Mary alone survived but lost 13 relatives in this house. It's a nice garden. With this one here, 9 members of the Thorpe family lived here. They all died. Thomas Thorpe, Mary his daughter, Elizabeth his wife, Thomas his son, Alice his daughter, Robert his son, William his son, William and Mary Thorpe, the parent of Thomas Senior, all died in the plague in this house. So these were rife with it. These cottages were rife with it all. Oh, there's a little one on the corner over there, look. Beth's going to. Beth's seen.
Are you recording?
Yes.
Hello guys, it's up to Loki here. I don't know what.
The home of the Siddle family. Richard aged 11, Sarah aged 13, John the father aged 45, Ellen aged 23, Elizabeth aged 21, Alice aged 9, Emmett aged 22, Elizabeth's mother, who remarried, died on 17th of October, John Daniel, Elizabeth's second husband, died 5th, Joseph Siddle, aged 3, survived.
Wait, you did 30th?
So the only person to survive were a 3-year-old.
Wait, you did 30th?
And that was this one.
Nearly 30th of September, is it?
Yeah, nearly.
Oh, God.
Right, these are 2 troughs. The high one, that one there, was used for cattle, whereas this one was used for dogs. And it was called something like the never-ending thing because it never failed them. It always had water in it. Never-ending trough is what they call it. It's next to the sheep roaster. But it's a tradition from 1951 every carnival day.
My hands are locked in, help me! My heads are locked in. I don't know why I'm talking in a weird voice.
Stay there, Tommy. It's a cool bench. But the stocks were probably erected by the local Barmcote Court, which ruled the lead mine industry, for the punishment of offending miners who committed relatively minor offences. They were restored in 1951 to mark the Festival of Britain. This building was used by farmers' wives to sell their eggs, butter, cheese and poultry on market days. It was restored in the 19th century.
Yeah, they would have used the plastic through the windows, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Donated by.
It's like a little museum bit, isn't it?
Yeah, inside, look, you've got your frozen on the window.
So the
7 magnificent resin.
That's Eyam Hall. Yeah, these probably were like servants' quarters or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Not open for a minute. A lot of it's just like cafes and little shops now. Cool thing about these houses is they named a lot of the cottages after the people that died there of the plague. So like that one there is called Merlin Cottage. Speaks now. That's the old from the front. But we're gonna see if we can get towards the well. Why would you do that? To stick to driving now for now, because the place is so big and we haven't got enough time. They're part of the trough system that we'll put in place. Hall Hill Troughs, established in 1558 and used as part of the Bradshaw Hall. Been providing water for domestic water for nearly 350 years. There's lots of little signs all over the place. We're going to miss a lot of it because we just haven't got the time, so we're just driving around trying to see what we can find at the minute. We're going up to a well, hopefully.
Maybe got too soon.
So just right up a massive gret off hill is called the Plumb the Depths of Mompesson's Well. Why is this here? If you look behind you, the railing under the hooded stone, you can see water supply by a stream. Not a well, it was once used as a watering place for the pack horses. We get water at home through a tap. Years ago, everyone in Eyam drew water through troughs like this. You use the old pack horse way to come here. It connected Eyam to the old salt route between Sheffield and Cheshire. Salt, like our modern freezers, helped preserve meat for during your winter, so people used to stash the meats here basically. How did the well get its name? In 65 and 66, Eyam was infected with the deadly plague, which came from London. The Reverend William Mompesson and the villagers courageously quarantined themselves to stop the plague infecting other villagers. The site was used as a dropping point for food by neighbouring villagers. Residents of Eyam left coins as payment, so this is like another paying stone. Known as Mompesson's Well, even today some people still leave coins and make wishes. Did you come here by car or bus? The rubber tyres contain lead, which were mined here from Roman times. Used to leave food here, Tommy. Other villagers.
Was there any old coins in there, Billy?
Probably not. But the horses used to use it to drink from. Or the pack horses. During the plague times, and then people would leave food here for people from other villages.
I don't think there's any more old-fashioned coins in there, but there's still, I can see new coins.
Yeah, people make wishes and throw them in.
Unless someone came from another country and threw their coins.
So the house here, it belonged to Marshall Howe. He lived as part of a central part of these buildings. He became the village sexton during the plague. He was one of the few infected people to survive, but his wife Joan and his 2-year-old son died. He was also in charge of the village pound for stray animals, which was where the garden wall stands now. So we'd have had stray animals down there. And that's here. He owns that. West End Cottage. Cottage built in 1553. The following victims of a plague died here. It's got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people died there. Merrill Cottage. Humphrey Merrill, the village herbalist, died here in September 1666. Sorry. His wife Anne survived. Andrew Merrill also lived here. He survived the plague by going to the edge of Eyam Moor and building a crude hut in which he lived with his pet cockle spaniel until the plague was over. Oh, pet cockle, sorry. Until the plague was over. So he went out way and just built on the outskirts, which might be what we saw earlier when we were walking up to the graves. Looking at an old hut, doesn't it? The place is absolutely huge. There's plaques all over the walls. We can't read them all. We haven't got enough time, enough day. There's a lot of places that had plague victims that haven't got plaques outside, mainly just the main ones. They would have put big X's on the door at one point in time. So we're going to finish the video here. If you like the content, like it, comment and subscribe, and follow us on Mash.tv Instagram.
And Facebook.
I haven't got a Facebook.
Oh, well, okay. Sorry guys.
All the descriptions, all the links are down in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.
Peace.
You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason.